What's up, y'all? What's going on? What's up?
Greetings. What's going on? What's going on, Sterlyn?
Chilling, man. Out here, what is it? Like a
Outer space? You in outer space, it looks like to me.
yeah, man. Yeah. I don't even need the suit. You know, I'm a god. You
That
know,
melanin, boy, that melanin.
yeah, looking at it from Sirius and shit.
All right. And you can see I got my green screen too. I'm in the temple. Got the guys behind me.
Yeah.
That's some real deal stuff right here.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But this is you know what it is. This is Real Talk Forum.
Our forum.
Yeah, man. We're gonna go in like we normally do. We've been out for a minute. Sterlyn been on business trips, and I've been having a lot of business running around, trying to make ends meet. You know what it is. But we're here now.
Yes.
And shout out to people that got at me about when the next show is going to be. So we're here and we're going to talk about some Japanese society stuff that is kind of between the lines that a lot of people might be missing. Yeah.
Good transition. I'm very sorry to keep you all waiting for the show. You know?
Right. Sumimasen. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the importance of apologies in Japanese society. I think apologies, when you apologize, it exhibits a certain level of humility. And if you check, you know that what I call the Yamato Code, and I did a most deaf, or I keep saying most deaf, a deaf terms video about Yamato Code, and it's kind of the fabric or the script that really dictates Japanese actions and behavior. And a lot of it is based on Confucianism. So humility is deeply embedded. And I think that goes every culture, around the world. I mean, being a jerk or being obnoxious is frowned upon. But in my opinion, it really goes very, very deep in Japanese society.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they women especially, some women, they'll apologize after every sentence. You know that? And you're like, all right. So it's just standard to say I'm sorry a lot. That's why a lot of translations come off kind of funny. You got to erase all the I'm sorries and apologies.
Right. And even replace some of them with just excuse me or something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing about apologies is and again, I'm using extreme examples, so this is not one a blanket thing here, one size fits all. But I think, like, for example, in the United States, when someone apologizes, and especially if it's a spectacle, if people are watching it, the focus is it's on both people, but I think a lot of it is on the person being apologized to, because they're seen as whoever's righteous in the situation or what's going on, and they're kind of like, oh, he's the person just being shown respect. But in Japan, the focus goes on to the person who is apologizing, and I'm talking about by the periphery, people who are watching it. Because remember, the Yamato Code is the people who are watching, the Japanese people. They're the judge and jury. They're carrying out the code. The code is going to be maintained no matter what. And once it's public, now we're really falling into the code, because the tatemae and everything is in full effect. So the person who's apologizing has to humble themselves, and it's an embarrassing situation, right? And so how they apologize, the degree of sincerity that is being emanated from them is being judged. And in many cases, the person who's apologizing can use that as a platform. Not saying that anybody's doing that, but that's a platform that will really springboard them to having respect. More so than in my, like I said, in what I experienced in the United States and other countries.
Yeah.
Got anything?
Yeah. When I watched, there's a show called Hamazaki Naoki, and in Japan it's a banker, and he has to go around fixing bad loans and stuff for this bank he works for. and he finds out that a lot of these bad loans come from inside his company. He was thinking that it was the people asking for the loans, but it was actually the bank people are giving them bad loans, and it goes all the way up to the top, like this vice president dude. He's the one he's corrupt or whatever. And so way at the beginning, he's like, yeah, he was like, who do you think you are? Like, you think you can come up to me and just start asking me questions? The Hamazaki Naoki guy, he's going to the top corrupt dude, and
okay,
corrupt dude is telling him, yeah, how are you gonna come to me like that, you know? So he's like, apologize. And so Hamazaki apologizes. He bows his head deep or whatever, and he's like, but if I catch you, and I'm gonna make it all public in front of everybody, then you have to apologize back to me 10 times worth. He says this like throughout the series. He calls it baigaishi, which is like 10 times or 100 times worse. And the guy's like, yeah, whatever, man, you know. And so at the end, of course, he wins. And in front of the whole business meeting, the dude goes through this like 5-minute, like slow, like on his knees, deep bow called dogeza. Bow all the way down and apologize for everything he did, you know. And he still stays with the company, I believe. I forgot how it goes, but
he wouldn't have if he didn't do that.
Yeah, right.
If he didn't do that, if he didn't take it upon himself and do that publicly, there'd have been no place for him to land. Right.
And that to me showed me, like, I was like, wow, this is extremely Japanese here. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like he was doing the seppuku, where he's killing himself. You know what I'm saying? He put the sword to his stomach, like he fell on his sword. Yeah.
And there it is, like seppuku and dogeza. There's different degrees, even just in apologies, and even in how you bow, right? To show respect and to humble yourself, right? They talk about like I said, it's humility. We're talking about humility here, like, and that's why it's always where you stand, where you walk. You know, the number one person has to be ahead. Like they have I remember I was reading in a book during the Edo era, and they talked about an artisan that was really respected in the town. And that when even samurai, and he wasn't, artisans are not the samurai class, right? But whenever they were riding on their horse past his estate, they would get off the horse. They would get off the horse and walk, because they didn't want to make it seem like they were riding above him. You know, that became the custom.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people judge you by this. You know what I'm saying?
Would you consider this then? Would that be? I would say if it was a Westerner seeing this, it'd be like, okay, so you're talking about old caste systems that should be eliminated.
Well, if you look at it, because the example I just said had something to do with caste, but really it did, and it transcended it, because he wasn't even in the caste. He wasn't samurai. He wasn't in that the degree that he's supposed to be bowed to like that. But he was so revered because of his work. You know what I'm saying? That he got that respect. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that really goes into that. But even if we talk about that, that was the caste system back then, you can say, but it still persists today. You know, it still persists today. In 21st century Japan Decoded, I give an example of when, like, dogeza, that whole thing. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a long drawn out example of when I had a big experience with that. And yeah, it's like I said, it's really eye opening. But just to give you another one, something happened the other week where, again, and I want to highlight the fact of being the person doing the apologizing as opposed to being the person who was wrong. I made a mistake. I work for a couple different companies right now. I'm scrambling because you know, I got to make ends meet, and I'm working this one company that I'm working for. I'm on the roster, but I never worked there, and so you have to use a lot of computer technology in the job. And as Sterlyn knows, I'm a little bit challenged when it comes to some of the the cutting edge technology, and some not so cutting edge. But I made a mistake. Bottom line, without getting into the details, I made a mistake. it wasn't a big mistake. It wasn't something that, you know, cost the company money or anything like that, but it was a mistake. And at first I didn't think that it was my mistake. I thought someone else had made the error. But after, you know, doing research and talking it over, I realized that the error was on me. And they have a foreigner manager. So this woman, she spoke to me about it, whatever. And that was all settled. But there's a Japanese staff out there, and I took it upon myself to go out there and apologize to all of them. And, you know, and I bowed and everything like that. And because there's other, the majority is foreigner staff, and they're not used to the instructors doing that.
Okay, yeah, right.
They're just not used to it, and you could tell when I went out there, and and again, maybe also I'm speaking to them in Japanese as opposed to English, and I announced what I was doing, you know, and I bowed, and I didn't make a big show because I didn't want to, they're not embarrass them, but there's Japanese there, clients in the background, so I didn't make it really, really obvious and really more for them. You know what I'm saying? But when they realized what I was doing, and this also ties in something else, like they laughed, right? And that's another thing that I guess I kind of want to get into too, like the laughter thing. Because I know that when they laugh in that Japanese laugh in that manner, laughter conceals, or Japanese believe that laughter conceals a person's emotions. So you'll find whenever Japanese get uncomfortable, they tend to laugh. They'll laugh at stuff, and if you don't know that, it can be taken as like disrespect.
Yeah.
Like, what are you laughing at? Like, what are you laughing at? You know what I'm saying? But before I digress, you know, they all bowed back, like, again, because I'm putting them in the Yamato Code. Yeah. I do something, you have to do it back, or you're off code.
Right, and you could take the laugh as condescending, but they are giving you your respect.
Right, but I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that too. But the point I really wanted to make was afterward. Since then, like, you know, when the staff come up and talk to me now, I can tell they're like, how do I talk to this guy? Because they're like in between the, you know, and most of them just start speaking in Japanese, and they're doing it in a kind of an English environment where everyone else is speaking English. So then it kind of sets me off, because in the foreigner teachers are like, why are they speaking to you in Japanese? You know, and so now they're looking at me like, what did he do, or what is he doing, or why are they doing that? And all I can, and just again, and I write about this in the book, it's because if you show yourself to be on code, if you exhibit the code, it prompts a response from Japanese people, whether they want to do it or not. It's unconscious. It taps into their subconscious. And so, like, foreigners don't do that, so that means I got to do the other thing, because it's one or the other. There's no C, A or B. You know, and in their minds, the dichotomy prevails. Yeah.
Okay, it does make sense, you know, and they definitely have a hard time giving people they don't think belong in the code, you know. So definitely, I went to a school recently, and you know, it's out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, and they really don't want me to speak to them in Japanese. But when it was break time, we went to the coffee shop. I went to a coffee. One of the workers there was like, "I'll come with you." And he just started talking to me in English, and I talked to him for a minute, but then I just started going into Japanese. And I could tell he's like, "Yo, your job is to stay in English." I'm like, "Yeah, off the break, yeah, I'm gonna do what I always do." You know, like, you know, when we came back, now he just keeps speaking to me in Japanese, you know, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what happened to it?" But he doesn't know how to switch back. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because it's one or the other. You one or the other.
Yeah.
There's no switching. Well, it's very, it's hard to do.
It's hard to switch. Yeah. Some people can.
But even the people that can do it, they've practiced it a lot of times.
Right.
And it's still kind of at a superficial level. They're going to think of you one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not promoting, or the book is not promoting trying to become Japanese.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's promoting understanding what the code is and being able to use the code to protect yourself from a mental health perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to adapt to your environment. You just have to. If you don't, you'll go crazy. And
Right.
that you're not going to speak the language. You're not going to talk to the. This is not what they do regularly. This is for your mental health, definitely. And I don't mind switching. You know what I'm saying? You can switch back and forth, but as long as we're in Japan, majority of the time it's going to be in Japanese.
And for me, you know what? It's difficult for me to switch, and I guess that's the Japanese in me.
Mm.
If I start speaking Japanese for a while, it's not difficult for me to speak English, because English is easily my strongest language.
Mm.
I'm not saying that, but a little bit. Sometimes I start slipping a little bit, but it's the mentality. It's a mentality thing. So like even when I visit Sterlyn, I subconsciously switch into, I just want to chill. I just want to chill and just be on some some N-word shout. I just want to chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's difficult for me to speak It's difficult for me to get into that because I'm not in my mind. I'm on vacation, and a lot of times when Japanese come up to you, who the ones I call them J specs. Oh, and by the way, I did a def terms on ego hose.
Oh, ego hose. Okay.
Yeah, and originally I had J specs in the title, and I didn't go in on J specs. I apologize. I think a brother named Michael Brantley got at me and asked me, you didn't inform me. So I am going to do a def terms specifically on J specs probably this week. Saying so, please stay tuned for that. But for me, it's difficult for me to go back and forth. So in my mind, like Sterlyn just said, when I'm in a English speaking environment, I do my job. You know what I mean? But when I walk out in the public, that's done. You know what I'm saying? I wash my hands of that. You know what I'm saying? And again, and that I guess could make me hard to get along with to some people. But it works out. It works out. It has been working out.
Yeah. I think it's natural too, by the way. Like the thing is it's almost like we're being forced to believe that the unnatural way is natural, like always. Right. And really this is the natural way. When it's you and me talking, it's two brothers. We're black. So we're gonna speak the language that the majority of black people speak, which is English. And I'm talking about black like FBA black, and foreign, foundational black American, foreign black American, and it's like, when I'm thinking in Japanese, it's just hard for me to think in English. It's just better to do it in Japanese,
Right.
Coffee shop and there's nothing but old people in there and everything's written in Japanese. Where does English fit in this? Like,
right.
Isn't it weird the other way, And yeah.
When in Rome.
But anyway, back to the apology thing though, you said they look at in Western society, if you apologize to somebody, people will look at the person being apologized to, like he's the man.
Oh yeah, the focus, yeah.
The focus. And then if you're in Japan, they're looking at the person who's doing the apology.
Right. Well, it's kind of like this seppuku. It's the same thing, because that's like the most severe form of apology, right? When they're doing that, they somehow failed, or they're trying to restore their honor.
Okay.
Right, and they make a big ceremony out of it. Right, because the focus goes, wow, you're gonna do this, you're really gonna. And when you especially like dogezo, or when you really apologize like that, you're kind of doing the same thing symbolically. Like the fact that you can get up in front of everybody and admit, I was wrong, and I'm sorry. And because from just not just doing that, that means from this moment on, everyone who's watching is going to expect to see a change. And if they don't see a change, because it's public, everybody knows because you said it.
Right.
So like you're not going to have any place to land. So change, transcendence, getting better, improvement, all of that is involved in it. It's like a renewal, a regeneration.
Okay, so it does have its reasons, and it keeps the system together almost. It keeps the code together.
Yeah,
It keeps the people together. You know.
Yes, it's the basis of the code, because remember, the code is based on propriety. It's not based on law.
Mm.
You know, like man-made laws. It's like it's based on you doing the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing, integrity, really. And if you don't do it, that's why, like, you know, and I say that, I call it a glitch in the Japanese matrix. That's why if you do anything that's different from what Japanese people do, they start to stare at you, or that's when you start getting opposition. Yeah, you get opposition. But as long as you stay in your space, you know what I'm saying, the space. But the thing is, it's the space many times that they have designated for you, which may take you out of your natural self. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, the book, we're talking about being able to maintain the code and maintain your natural self. And actually it's in reverse order. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be anybody other than who you are and be emotionally, spiritually, and mentally healthy. You know what I'm saying? I think Muhammad Ali said it best when they were trying to get him to go fight in Vietnam. And they kept on using examples like, you don't have to fight. You're just going to travel around to bring up the morale. And he's like, Joe Louis did it. You know, they kept on saying Joe Louis, and he said, listen, I'm not Joe Louis. And he said, I don't have to be who you want me to be. And I remember as a kid, when I first heard that, you know, I read about his biography, and I remember that's a quote that really stuck out to me because of what I was going through. Yeah. I don't have to be who you want me to be. I'm who I am. You know what I'm saying? Why should I apologize? Why do I have to apologize for being who I am? You know what I'm saying? And when you compromise that, from that moment on, you're entering into a space of mental and emotional instability.
Why do I have to apologize for being who I am? So back to the apology then. So what are you apologizing for in Japan?
Well, it depends on, it's case by case, but you're
the honorable apology.
You're taking you're taking responsibility for your mistake. You're not looking to, well, he did it too, or, well, hey, no. What did you do?
Yeah, don't worry about all that. Yeah.
Right. What did you do?
Yeah.
I mean, you take accountability for that. And it's one thing to do it in your soul or yourself. That's the first step. But to make it public, now you can't retract it. Can't be retracted. And like I said, so everyone now is going to expect to see this change. And if they don't see the change, it's something that can actually be brought up.
Okay. Yeah. Because you documented it now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's documented. It's documented by you. And according to, I mean, even if somebody told you to do it, that's not what everybody sees. Everyone sees you got up on your own volition, and you got up and you apologized. Because you're taking everybody's time. Because when you do that, everybody's going to look. You're like, it's a production. It's a spectacle. And so you took our time and made us pay attention to this. Because the change that's going to be affected is going to affect everybody. That's how it's understood, it's perceived. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in this society. You know what I mean? So like, even like I got to go to that company today. I can't go up there and slip it up now. You know what I'm saying? Right. I got to be on my P's and Q's about at least that one the situation. You know, because I can't do it twice. Oh, my bad. I know I did it last week, but
I'll bow lower this time.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the second floor, the floor below us, and do it. You know what I'm saying? Bow to you from down there, so you can make sure I'm lower.
It's got to be genuine, so it can only happen like once. Yeah.
And and like even then, like that's why it's important to be able to, know like what are you going to say when you apologize? How are you going to do it? The degree to which you bow, and when you do it. When you do it.
Yeah. When you do it.
You're going to.
In public, or in where people who are connected to it can see it.
Right. Because really what you're doing is you're apologizing to everyone.
Right.
Just because this person might be the one that you actually directly offended, that affects everyone. And that's how Japanese people see everything. Everything is interconnected, is interwoven.
So what about, this might be kind of off, but what about when we were doing women, how they're being treated in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman had a lot of sexual harassment charges brought against her coworkers who were above her.
Mm-hmm.
And she brought it to them and other people before, but nobody was apologizing about that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And the man, even when she won the case, won everything, there was no apology issued at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I forgot the woman's name. You're talking about that one particular case.
Yeah,
And she's standing out there with the katsu, the sign
yeah,
after she won. And there's another such lady who did the same thing recently here in Nagoya, actually.
Mm.
But well, are you asking me why?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying certain times, like or that time, maybe especially traditional men, they ain't apologizing for shit.
Well, you know what? I think the reason for that is, and this is kind of blanket, but again, there's tatemae is always there too, right? The how you look, the PR, and they really don't think that they did anything wrong. That's what that means, because the real apology, the apology really comes when it's you broke the code, and they don't think they broke the code, but they might have broken the law. And that's a good example to show you that the law and the code, while there is a huge common space, but they are mutually exclusive. You know what I'm saying? So you can break the law possibly. Like there's another one I posted on Facebook the other day. I can't remember the details, but a guy, I just looked at it. He took a bribe. Or he had to step down for taking bribes or something. I think he was some kind of legislator, and he apologized and he stepped down. But he even says he's like he's not really worried about getting the law. He's not really worried about what's going to happen to him, and he still plans on remaining a lawmaker.
Huh.
You can't say that in the same article and be truly apologetic. So he's right on the code. When you read between the lines and you understand that he's like, F that, I don't care. Whatever, I got to step down because tatemae, everybody told me I have to.
Yeah.
But I didn't break the code.
I ain't sorry though, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't break the code. I don't have anything to be sorry for.
Right, okay.
I didn't break the code. The law here is interfering with our code.
What is one example of that where he would be breaking the code? What's one code that is like can't be broken? Like
breaks
exposing somebody in an inappropriate time or something.
You mean breaking the law and
breaking the code. What's a code breaker?
A code breaker is easy, man. Code breakers can be, like I said, anything. Doesn't have to have anything to do with the law. Like the easy one, the red light, the pedestrian red light. When a lot of people talk about it, there's like you see Japanese standing there and there's no cars coming at night, and they'll stand there and they'll wait for that light to turn green. Right. And sometimes the street is like it's like 2 steps literally. You know what I'm saying? And they'll stand there, especially if other Japanese are watching. If there's no one there, I'm not saying it never happens. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, even in cities like Tokyo, I would assume that in Tokyo they're a little bit more, westernized, or whatever. I talked to people and told them, no, the guy Alvin, the DJ, he was like, nah, he was like that little small street, and he was like at nighttime and whatever, nobody crosses. And just to give you an example, I remember when I came here, when I started working in a school, I'm coming from the States, coming back here from the States after a number of years. I didn't even realize how strong that was, or how important that was. So I remember I was near my school. I'm a teacher, and I crossed the street. Right? I guess I was maybe running behind. I don't know what it was. There was no cars coming, and we got to class, and a student, and he rose his head. He was like, "You walked across the street today." And I've always been this guy. I stick out, and I'm an independent thinker. I was in the Army acting like that, so you can just imagine. And that's when it dawned on me, wow, so it's not optional at all.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked around and I could tell he was the only student that saw it.
Mm.
I don't know how I determined I was like, his name was Watanabe-kun. I was like, you saw me cross the street. He was like, yeah. I said, this guy, he wore glasses, but he didn't like wearing them.
Mm.
Right. So he used to always be squinting, and I used to always make him put his glasses on.
Mm.
And I said, did you have your glasses on when you saw me do that?
Mm.
And he was like, nah, you don't know what you saw.
Yeah.
And everybody started laughing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't want to believe that I did that.
Ah.
You know what I'm saying? And I got past it. But I learned, I was like, oh, so it is that deep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially as a teacher.
Mm.
Like, you're not allowed to do that at all. You know, and then after that, I was like, yeah, how did I not notice that? Like, you know, how did I not notice it was that severe?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just in my own thoughts.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's a good
And,
one.
yeah, man. So anything, like I said, you know, whenever you're somewhere, and if you see more than one Japanese person looking at you, yeah, it could be just because you're a foreigner, and many times that will account for a quick look. But I'm talking about a prolonged stare. Check out what you're doing, and if you're doing this with your headphones on,
yeah,
or it could be something very, very small, because like I said, it's a very stringent society. And I'm not saying you should walk around all day, every day, trying to fit into this thing, but you should know what it is, because there are times when you do want to be in, you don't want any other attention. You know what I'm saying? Or any attention that's given to you can be perceived by them as those people being off code. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you do not want to be. It's real nice to be individual when it's just you amongst a lot of Japanese people, especially, you know, the tokenism kind of thing, especially if they're not even really paying attention to you. But like if you go out there and you see like another foreigner who's like real goofy, and now you both standing out and he comes gravitating towards you, starts talking to you, you're like, oh, you know, especially when I see another foreigner, I'm like, nah, man, don't even come over here with all that stuff, man. Like,
especially when they just break into, like, you're in an elevator and they break into a conversation in English with you.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's like, man, come on, man, just be quiet. Everybody else is quiet, man. Like, be quiet, man. Just be quiet.
Yeah.
You can do this when we get off the elevator.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not saying I'm not gonna, you know what I mean, but I'm just like, yo, why are you trying to put me out there with you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
That's stuff. That's definitely a person who's not trying to be on code at all. Like,
yo, do you have any examples where a Japanese person tried to pull you into the gaijin realm? Oh, and by the way, if a Japanese person comes up and speaks to you in English and you don't know them, I'm talking about, you know, these people are just trying to be entertained. If the moment you answer them, now everything's okay. Because now it's a spectacle. Everybody's watching. Oh, is some gaijin? They're off code. And so a lot of Japanese people, consciously or unconsciously, they want to take a break from that stringency. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of times they want to come and let me just come and play with the foreigner. You know what I'm saying? And be entertained. Now, if you're cool with that, because sometimes it might be cool. You know, might be at a party or whatever. You know, whatever. But understand that that's what's going on. But if a Japanese person comes up and starts talking to you in English and you don't say anything, don't believe me. Look at how everybody else reacts. If there's other Japanese, they'll start looking at that person. They're not going to look. They'll start looking at them like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're disturbing us."
Well, especially
the wa.
Yeah, where I am right here, you know, and like you said, they call me the mayor out here now, I guess, because there's always somebody. Like I want to go to Starbucks. Like today, I don't want to sit in my house. I get too sleepy. But I know if I go there, somebody going to kind of holler at me, you know, or try to talk to me, you know. So like one time I was sitting there at Starbucks and I had my earphones off. Usually if I have these big ones on, people just, you know, leave me alone. But I had them off and this guy came up and he was like, excuse me. And I don't even flinch. I'm just on my computer like, you know, excuse me. Hello, excuse me. I'm just like, and then finally on the fourth or fifth, excuse me, I looked around like not even his direct. He was like, let's say he's here. I was like, you talking to me? You know? And he just got up and left. because everybody in there was like, they were already looking at him like, yo, what is this guy sitting there yelling to this guy for? Like, what is, and yeah, like you said, nobody's even thinking about the English thing anymore, any of this. It's just like, who is this dude and what is he doing? And once he felt that pressure on him, it's been a minute since he's been looked at like that. You could tell because he left, because he didn't even know what to do after that. He could have apologized. He could have said something in Japanese. He could have done anything, but he just got up and left because he wasn't ready for that, And I'm not saying this because I want to be cold to people, but I know most, especially older men, when they're like 50, 60 or whatever, they talk to these young gaijin, foreigners out here, and keep getting the same response, and they think I'm one of them, and I'm like, nah, I ain't. It's just like I feel like I understand my woman side, my feminine side more now. Pause, but I understand that more because I'm like, okay, this is what it's like when a girl tries to look pretty, and then dudes just come up to her like just assuming she's a hoe. I'm like, don't
an invitation.
Yeah, just because I got my hair done now, you think I'm a hoe or some shit, like, it's almost like that. I'm like, who is he talking to? I know you ain't talking to me,
And that's covered in the book too, because again, what Sterlyn just exhibited is Japanese can be ostracized the same way as anyone else. No one is exempt. You know what I'm saying? And what he was doing was off code. He was disturbing the wa. And that's not tolerated.
Right.
Especially once you didn't say anything. He's by himself, and you're in the group. You're in the group. He's outside of the group, speaking foreign language, being loud. What are you doing, man? You know what I'm saying? And I want to give another example, just like that. When I told Sterlyn, I used to work with this lady, and when I met her, she opened up English school, and when I met her, she could barely speak any English. So, which was no problem because we corresponded in Japanese. Her school started growing when she started hiring like Filipinas and some Peruvian, not too many, a couple of white people, but they didn't stick around that long. And so she started trying to switch over to speak English with me, and I was like, nah. We've already established this. I don't really know what you're talking about when I don't know if you're making mistakes. It's just easier. Why are you going to switch up? The plan works. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to, you know what I mean? Don't fix it if it ain't broke. So I even had that going for me. So I had to, and she's the boss, and she thought she could, and I told her straight to her face, like, look, no, don't do that, and that kind of shocked her. So anyway, I stopped. I don't work there anymore. And it's about a year later, and I'm in the bank. No, I'm in a pharmacy or somewhere. We're in a line.
A year later.
Yeah, it's about a year later. I haven't seen this woman, and there's two parallel lines, right? So I'm in one line, and it's in the morning. So it's like 8:30 in the morning. So everybody's quiet. How the morning is in Japan. Everybody's thinking about what they got to do, lost in their own thoughts. This woman comes up next to me, and she's like, "Hi, and she's waving her hand like this, and I told her not to do that. You know what I'm saying? I told her, and so she's clearly trying to get on my nerves. It's not even close. But the thing was, it was kind of like Sterlyn. I wasn't even faking it. She was standing right next to me, but I was so in my own world, that I heard it like a faint echo, but it never even dawned on me that she was talking to me.
Yeah, it was like background noise, like somebody was excited to see somebody else.
Yeah, and I'm hearing it, but I'm just like, and then she starts saying my name, Amado Sensei, and even then, it still didn't get to me. The woman, and then I was like two people from the woman at the desk, and the person in front of me leaves, and I move up, and I just walk away from her and hand her my paperwork, and I'm like, I'm like, speaking of Ohio gozaimasu, and the woman grabs my stuff, and she goes like this. She looks at me, and then she's like, like she's like pointing, but she, again, because she's on code, she doesn't want to do it, because if she does anything strange, now it's going to be she'll join her out of the circle.
Exactly.
And right then I heard it loud and clear because this woman was still doing it. She was doing this for like, I want to say 10 seconds.
Okay.
No, but just 10 seconds straight, more than 10 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds. Hi, good morning, good morning. Hi, hi.
Out now.
Yeah, because now, and finally I realized it, and I just looked at her, and in Japanese I was like, speaking English is strange, right? But I said gairaigo, like, foreign language. What are you doing? What are you speaking? Tell me this, man. I was like, and I just turned around and started conducting my business. And now here's the clincher. This woman knows me, right? So after you handle the paperwork, then you got to go sit in the waiting room.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So she's behind. She's like, she's in the line next to me, but she's not far behind me.
Yeah.
So when we get into the waiting room, right, it's all these older women, and with their children, and this is clearly being done for my benefit. They're talking before the woman gets there. Like, what's wrong with that woman? Is she's clearly a gaijin.
Oh shit.
From Taiwan? Where do you think she's from? She's from because she's she looks Japanese. Oh my God! I was trying not to laugh.
Ooh, wow.
And then the woman comes in the room, and they all, they stop talking. Right now, I had a choice. I was like, now I can just straight diss this woman. You know what I'm saying? So she comes up to start talking to me now. But now it's all in Japanese.
Okay.
And she's observing all of the etiquette.
Yeah.
And it's funny, she's trying to make it clear. She's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, not even she knows me, that she was like above me. Do you have any time? Why don't you come and teach some lessons? And she's talking loud. You know what I mean? Like, so everybody can hear. And I just was like, hi, so this, and but I didn't cut her off. I let her do her thing. I let her kind of save some face.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't going to enter into a deep conversation with her.
Yeah.
And luckily, actually, I think they came and called my name.
Yeah, the ball was all in your court then. Yeah.
Yeah, the ball. But like I said, I could have just smashed her with it. But had I done that, then it wouldn't have looked good. Even if I was only doing that, if I was just thinking about it wouldn't have looked good on the code wise.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have looked good. It was like, humility. She got her just desserts already. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it wasn't because of me. She offended the code. Yeah. And she was the hammer sticking and the nail sticking up, and the hammer came and smacked her down. Yeah. And I guess that's a good way to end this segment. And that's what it is. That nail sticking up. It gets hammered down, but it doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the law. So to speak. It has everything to do with the code. I call it Yamato Code. And please check that out in depth terms and check it out in the book where I go really into it. 21st century Japan decoded. And I think we've exhausted this topic.
It's good. Yeah. That's it. RealTalkEnglish.jp, y'all. So you can check me out. John Boy Island, if you're in the area, food truck. John Boy Island.
Yeah, hopefully we get some events going once this
we're already
warm, yeah.
Promotion, so yeah.
All right. TakuanAmaru.com or TakuanAmaru@gmail. You know what it is, man. Afro-Asiatic, real talk.
Yes. Peace.
We out. Peace.